What's up, you guys? Welcome to the 97 Demo Podcast, where we give you the latest music, news, and a whole bunch along the way. I am Nnamdi, one of your hosts, joined by
Noah McGee. Say the full name. What's up?
And Avery.
Avery DeLal.
Avery Devin DeLal. No, not Devin. Avery
Angelo DeLal. Google him.
Name.
Angelo.
Avery Angelo AAD. Y'all
Avery
know?
Clark Kent DeLal.
Oops. See, hold on. Let me start my timer because we're serious on time this time. We're stepping it up. But yeah, we got an exciting episode planned. Episode 2, season 2. If we're keeping tabs for our listeners out there that pay attention to that kind of stuff. Y'all, I feel like before we get into it, there's something that we kind of just have to address. You know, at the get go.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinions on something here.
The biggest news of the week, honestly.
Biggest news of the week.
I think it is.
Y'all know Vision? We found his hip hop counterpart.
Maybe he is Vision.
Maybe he is. That's what I'm saying. Like,
maybe it's the real version of him.
I just want to be Thanos and just like.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert got a huge pink diamond, $24 million diamond, apparently, embedded in his forehead. It's a big diamond right in the middle of his forehead.
Wow.
What are y'all's thoughts?
My thoughts.
My issue is, one, I don't believe this is a $24 million diamond because I'm not sure. I don't think Lil Uzi has 24 million of expendable income that he could just use to buy a diamond and put in his forehead. And two, I'm just like, who is the search? I don't think this is safe. I'm trying to understand it. And I'm like, I don't understand what like medical professional can say, okay, I'm going to sign off on this procedure. Go for it, bro.
I read something in GQ about this. So I don't believe it's 24 million. According to like the article by GQ, it said he's been saving up. It's more than any car, any house he bought. It's like more than anything he's ever bought, he says. So basically, there's two ways to get it embedded. There's like a magnet you can have. There's like a magnet you can have. But essentially, if it's a magnet, listen. If there's a magnet, it won't be stable. If he jumps up and down, it'll fall out and shit like that. Oh, we cursing. My bad. It don't matter. And then there's one where it's like a piercing. Essentially, it's a piercing that's in his head. That's like really in his head. And basically, if somebody were to rip it out, it would rip his whole forehead off.
That's my question. What happens when you decide you no longer want the diamond, or if it gets infected? Do you just then is your brain just showing?
It got to be surgery.
Like it's got to smell bad, right?
It got to stink. Exactly.
I mean, it has to. My thing is like that aside. I'm not going to say it isn't a flex, and I'm not going to say it isn't like a wow, like there's now a new level of like, I'm iced out and I'm going to show you. You know, I feel like Grill sort of got a resurgence of popularity. Uzi went past that and said, I'm going to get the diamond and plant it in my forehead. And I feel he was inspired by the Avengers movie. Like that, I feel has to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
He got this idea from somewhere.
But like, why not get a piercing? There's regular piercings you can get. You can get more face tattoos.
I mean, he did get a piercing. I mean, he has piercings already. I think this is just upping the ante.
My thing too is, guys, it's not even centered. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, make it look good. Like, it's not centered. It's a little to the right.
I think it's the way. I think he said something about that too. It's because the way the diamond or so once it heals, it's gonna look better. Essentially, what he said, because it's still like swollen and stuff like that. I don't know. I just hope somebody doesn't rip this off his forehead and his whole forehead comes off, because that would be really bad for Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay safe, Mr. Uzi.
Mr.
Final thoughts. How long y'all think he's gonna have it in for?
I don't even know.
3 months, 6 months.
I'm just gonna hope this is the start of some kind of album rollout and say like 2 years.
Well, he just released 3 albums last year.
Weren't 2 of them like the deluxe of the same album?
Well, yeah, one was one album and one deluxe, but one was a double. The deluxe was basically a double album, remember? So, like, I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway, there's actually, so I'm happy that we're getting back to our headline segment, one of my favorites, because there was actually like a lot of news this week. Picking just 3 was difficult. You know, Lil Yachty's Uno movie almost made the cut, but it didn't, unfortunately. But I guess there's nowhere I want to start more than Morgan Wallen, who has honestly given me more of a surprise than I ever could have anticipated. The long story short, TMZ caught him saying the N-word. I want to point out he wasn't saying the N-word to a black person. He was using it. The context of it is like he was talking to a friend and saying like, "Get that, bleep home." That doesn't make it better. Definitely not. justifying it, but I will say it makes me more surprised, the swift reaction he got. His record label suspended his contract. A whole bunch of radio stations, over 400, dropped his music. Apple and Spotify dropped his music from their playlist. He was Country Music Television, CMT Network. They canceled all of his appearances. His album, despite being #1 right now on Billboard, is no longer eligible for the Country Music Awards. Like, this is a swift, quick reaction from the entire country music industry, and I have never been more surprised in my life.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen's had a rough go of it these past few weeks. His own doing, too, might I point out. If everyone remembers, he was kicked off of SNL, or rescheduled, I should say, because there were videos of him partying and kissing multiple women, and no one was wearing masks. Not that it matters when you're at a party with that many people. And so he got rescheduled for SNL. Have to imagine that's not happening anymore. Yeah, and being Morgan Wallen's publicist right now sounds awful. It really sounds terrible.
And that came after he got arrested. Let's not forget he was arrested for disorderly conduct like last May, and those charges were ultimately dropped. But he has now had a long string of just like mess ups.
Yeah, going off of this the headline for this Rolling Stone article, is it permanent? I don't think it is. I think his music will be back. I think just give it a couple years, he'll be back. He'll drop another #1 album probably. I think he'll be back. I don't think it's permanent.
My thing about it is like it does, to me, it's not even a matter if it's permanent, because I doubt it is. Like later on in the show, I'm going to talk about how his sales have actually gone up to an extent since all this happened. But like my thing is, it's the fact that country music is basically making a firm stance of saying, I know everyone thinks we're the conservative Southern people that throw around the N-word and don't care, but we're not tolerating this. And that was the bigger surprise to me. This right now, for all intents and purposes, is the country music Drake. That's what I literally refer to him as. Right now, I think he's one of like the biggest, most rebellious names in the country. His album's been #1 on Billboard for 3 weeks, and that didn't matter. They still said we're done. The same country music industry that like banned the Dixie Chicks in 2003 for speaking out against George W. Bush and the Iraq War is now saying, "Oh, this kid saying the N-word is all it takes. He's done."
Yeah, but unless he actually does something
I just wasn't expecting.
Well, unless it's like an actual act, like he does something like supports Black Lives Matter, does a fund out foundation or something like that. I don't know, because then next year next couple of years it's gonna be back, and people will be like, oh, remember that? It's not really gonna hurt. It's not like an R. Kelly situation where his music's off streaming forever, or like people are like, no, never put it back on. It's not that type of situation.
To me though, this is like as close to I've seen a white artist getting canceled.
Exactly.
Like,
it's bigger than just him.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't, I'm very skeptical of cancel culture as a whole, but this is about as close as I've seen a white artist actually get canceled. So yeah.
Speaking of a white artist that needs to get canceled, Marilyn Manson. Wow. Honestly, well, let's just start with the short of it. So 5 women have now come out against Marilyn Manson and basically have accused him of all sorts of abuse, physical, emotional, sexual. It started with Evan Rachel Wood, who was his longtime like girlfriend, partner type of thing. I believe she was pretty young when they first started dating. She says that he groomed her and just like really horrifically abused her. And you've had more accounts coming out. I brought up this article because, we talked about Phoebe Bridgers a lot on the show, but she had a first person account and said, when I was a teenager, he didn't assault me or abuse me, but when I was a teenager, I went to this man's house and they joked that he had a rape room. And at the time everyone was laughing, but he was like, no, that's the rape room over there. And like that, because of that, it's like now all this is coming together. It's not a shock. And I've sort of heard that message from a lot of Marilyn Manson fans that like, if you read into his lyrics, none of this should be surprising. This is just, if anything, it's like a confirmation of what a lot of people maybe suspected based on his music content alone. Yeah, sort of insane.
I mean, honestly, to me, there's not like two sides of this. It's like whether it's like he's a rapist. Simple as that. It's not like really two sides. Like, I mean, it's whether you believe it or not. But I mean,
and we always stand with women on this podcast.
Exactly. I mean, I'm gonna go with the victim most times. So, I mean, there's not really much to discuss. It's like he's a rapist. As simple as that. Just stand with the victims and believe their stories and hear their stories too. So,
what are the repercussions been so far? What did that just say, Avery? I think so. His labels dropped him. I'm sure honestly anyone who can is going to separate from him. Because honestly, the things he's being accused of, I don't even want to get into the detail, but all of it's horrific.
You could imagine. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's terrible, but there's not really like much to discuss. Like he's a rapist. he's a pretty bad person. So
and obviously the way it also looks like, if Phoebe purchases to be believed as well, is that like he's only facing consequences now that people are coming out, and like this was
Exactly.
known. This was a quiet.
Yeah.
This was like
sort of like R. Kelly.
Oh, absolutely. The people around him are, responsible too, for sure. So, yeah.
Like honestly, the parallels to this and last thing I'll say, the parallels to this and R. Kelly were kind of like crazy to me, because similar to R. Kelly, if you listen to R. Kelly's music, you probably could have figured out that he was somewhat of a pedophile just from some of the stuff that you literally.
Yeah, when you read in between the lines.
Yeah, and it's the same thing here, and it was sort of an unspoken secret until finally, some women come forward. So, shout out to Evan Rachel, Wood for sharing your story. I'm sure that was a hard decision. And yeah,
and Phoebe,
with the woman on this podcast, and Phoebe, we stand with the woman up here,
of course.
And then we couldn't come back without a Kanye headline.
Now this one,
this is kind of a follow-up story from the fall. Fall as well.
Yeah, well, because I remember we talked about there was a lawsuit. I remember there being a lawsuit. Now we have a class action lawsuit. There's a lawyer with more than 500 performers. 500 performers that are now basically saying that they either weren't paid or they were mistreated during this set. Avery's highlighting a great line: "Jesus walks, but not to the bank, apparently." Can we just start with the fact that Kanye West held a show that was framed as this like big religious Christianity, this other side of him, and now we find out that he didn't pay half the people there. You have a story of a hairstylist who says she had to wait 120 days for a $550 paycheck, which, if you think about the amount of work that they're doing on these shows, really is not that much. Another performer.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Avery.
I was gonna say Kanye is just kind of sticking to the vein of large churches here, right? Like, avoiding.
Avery, we got Avery. No, okay, keep on going.
I was gonna,
Take the table.
I'm just saying, large churches don't have a great track record in this country of, being for the most pure reasons other than financial purposes. And
absolutely, this kind of, exactly. And, this kind of bringing back to when Kanye was doing the whole "I'm gonna do a gospel album," and people were like questioning it, and then some people were coming out like, "Don't question the man's Christianity or don't question his religion." I'm not saying he's doesn't believe in that. I'm still not in his head, but like, this is the reason people feel such a type of way about somebody like Kanye doing this and clearly taking advantage of this choir. It's because that's why it's a choir. So like, I mean, he could be a whatever. I don't know. Like, he could be a Christian. He could not be. He could just be taking advantage. But this is like just wrong. Like, this is why people were questioning him the entire time. Like, what were his intentions? And go on that. The music wasn't even that good. So with Kanye, Sunday service is good.
The lawsuit also pertains to West's opera performed at the Hollywood Bowl in November 2019 that violated California labor laws by not paying employees on time or ever and denying overtime, meal, and bathroom breaks. Kanye was here basically damn near enslaving these people during these performances, and that's awful. They think the final amount of claimants could reach 1,000. So who did you pay? That's my question. If you got 1,000 people now saying that, like up to 1,000 saying that, we were mistreated, what were you doing, Kanye?
Yeah. How's this work? Like, is a choir does the whole choir have a manager? Like, what if new members came on? Like, I'm wondering how this is going, because it's not like a 10-person group. This is 500, 1,000 plus people.
Well, it's a class action. So there was one lawyer who I think is representing like 300 performers, maybe another lawyer representing another couple hundred. It's basically a huge lawsuit, which decreases his chances of being able to just, fight his way out of this. Like, there's gonna be a settlement. Like, wait for that. Like, that
exactly. It has to be. Too many people.
And I remember thinking, like, when all this was happening, he was doing all these extravagant performances, and he was building all these sets, and I remember thinking, like, how is he? This has to be expensive. He was in Wyoming, and he was like built a whole thing out there on the ranch, and I was like, there wasn't an immediate album coming with it. I remember always being like, how are you funding this? And I guess now he realized that he wasn't really funding it because he didn't pay nobody.
I think Kanye could afford to pay him too and still have a lot of money, but like, that's just wrong.
Well, I don't know. You remember they say there was that whole thing where he said that he didn't have that much money.
Yeah, but remember there's a long history in this country of rich people not paying people. I mean, just look at Amazon. Like,
literally,
true.
There's a long. So yeah. So headlines are crazy.
We'll definitely keep a tab on this. I'm sure this will not be the last Kanye story we talk about anytime soon. So expect more of that. New releases. I guess you have to start with the weekend highlights, which let me be the first to say, y'all, that Super Bowl show was crazy. That performance.
Okay.
I was sitting here like, yo, Blinding Lights, y'all.
Okay.
That was like,
Okay.
insane, dog. Like that was crazy. You feel me?
The Weeknd released the highlights compilation with a bunch of great hits from the weekend.
Many of which he performed during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a bunch of great songs, so it's good, I guess. I mean, there's not really a way to judge it. It's just a bunch of good songs. So,
we also had, but honestly, the people on YouTube, you have the benefit of being able to see a list of a whole bunch of the new songs that came out. People who are listening, that's one of the costs. Check us out on YouTube. But why don't y'all just tell me what you listen to and what your favorites are instead of us just running through this entire list like we normally do.
I mean, the 4 in a row: Jid and Conway ballads, Jid Bruh remix, Jid Clutter, Freddie Gibbs Gang Signs featuring Schoolboy Q. And the Jid songs, only one was new. Ballads and Clutter were old songs that he just put on streaming. But Bruh was a great song. That was great. And Freddie Gibbs Gang Signs featuring Schoolboy Q. That looks like it's gonna be on his album. It looks like the first single for his album, I'm assuming. So yeah.
I hope so, because I was a fan of that one. Avery, what about you?
This Victoria Monet song was really good.
That was good.
FUCK,
I love
which
her.
It stood for Friends You Can Keep or Friend You Can Keep,
Mm-hmm.
or FUCK.
Mhm.
That was really good.
Cardi B up.
Cardi B Up, which I know Nnamdi has strong feelings about, positive strong feelings.
I like it.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
Yeah,
Positive strong feelings.
Ooh, did y'all listen to Vic Mensa?
No, I haven't. I meant to. Was it good?
It was cool. Cool.
I
Actually, I think I
realized
did listen to that song, Shelter. Yeah,
I
Yeah, it
didn't
was
realize
cool.
that G-Eazy came out with a song with Chris Brown, but
I listened to it. It's Provide, and it heavily samples Return of the Mac. And I don't know how I feel about that. It sort of feels like some classics needed to be untouched.
interesting.
But yeah, but it wasn't horrible. I also listened to Phineas. He came out with a new song, American Cliche. The way it sounds, y'all know I'm a Phineas guy. I'm still kind of mad we weren't allowed to really properly give him his props during our 2020 best of. We don't have to get into it. But American, the way it sounds almost commercial enough for me to be like, oh, is Phineas giving me an actual album? Because he does all these CD standalone EPs and like singles.
Right.
This sounded like the type of song that could get radio play. So I'm sort of like, is this now Phineas's time to do it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I follow him on Twitter, but I never like see it. I'm like, oh wow, I find out from you guys, obviously, but like I like Phineas. He makes good music. I liked his EP and his deluxe EP. So yeah.
I also had to throw in Dolly Parton. She covered her own song, 9 to 5. The great.
That's weird.
The great American classic, 9 to 5. Now it's titled 5 to 9, which I'm pretty sure is for a Super Bowl ad or something. I think some of the lyrics are changed, but
That's weird.
Dolly Parton's great.
Well, we look forward to seeing. I mean, yeah, and that Super Bowl ad was crazy too. So it makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
But I think those are the big ones to listen to. But I will say, Up, initial impressions, I liked it more than WAP. But also, I was a late adopter to WAP, as they always tease me about and make fun of me about. But Up is just really that hook has been in my head all day in a way that was like that. It wasn't like that for WAP for me at the beginning. WAP was forced on me because it was everywhere. But this, I'm like, I'm going to. I'm like, this is catchy.
This made me excited for her album because this was a really good, really strong.
Yeah, it was good.
I agree.
Really strong.
It was good. So,
y'all. So without further ado, let's get into our main discussion. So the Super Bowl was a thing. Weeknd is the halftime show performer this year. Because that has just happened, I think maybe we let that sizzle for a little bit. We come back and really think way its impact.
We not pretend.
Way it's well. No, even if we didn't watch it, I'm saying generally speaking, just let that live. But so far, based on all the expectations we have, it looks like it's going to be a great show. In the meantime, though,
expectations. So that's
since I couldn't fake it. In the meantime, though, we decided this would be a cool time to look back on some of the top Super Bowl performances over the last 10 years. We didn't want to do the entire shebang because the Super Bowl's halftime shows, we know it really started with Michael Jackson in 97, I think, around there.
Like the Blues Brothers. I think it was before that.
Or maybe 92. All I know is it was definitely one of those 90s years because Michael Jackson kind of sort of gave us the Super Bowl halftime shows we know it. So we're not going all the way back there because there's just too many legends and it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
We decided to start with 2010 and just talk the best shows from there to now.
Yeah. So that's 11 shows altogether. So So yeah, this was fun. We actually, all of us went back and we watched every single one of these. So it's not us just thinking, going off our memory. There's us actually going back and
this was a lot of fun prep to do. I thought this was probably some
This was.
No, it was fun prep. Yeah, it was fun.
It was a nice like nostalgia type of thing, you know, that we don't get to do too often. So I had a good time with it. But why don't we start by like let's start talking about it from 2010 and work our way up, just so we can sort of establish what show was what in case our viewers forgot, which if you're like us, you probably did forget the order. So 2010 was The Who.
So The Who is a band that I'm a fan of, old rock band. Emphasis on the old. They are old now. They were old 10 years ago.
They're still old now.
The songs I love their songs, and I loved all the songs they played. However, compared to the other, 10 of these that are on this list, no matter where they are going to be on our list at the end of this is like the most low energy performance out of all.
It was a bathroom break. It was. I'm sorry.
They can't move around. Like that's just a limitation they have because of certain physical characteristics they have at that point in their life. But this was just a low energy performance.
And we're not going too far before 2010, but I think it's important to note that after Nipplegate, right, the first JT and Janet Jackson performance. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's Nipplegate.
After that happened, you remember the Super Bowl responded by that by basically giving us like 8 years of consecutive rock shows. So like the performers at that time, they weren't like giving you your big.
Well, they have Prince. Shows. They have Prince one year. They have Prince.
I know Prince to me is like that he's like the one notable exception, and not even an exception because he does fit in that era. He just gave an amazing performance.
Good point.
But I think like the Who was at the tail end of that trend, right? When they were still trying to just establish this as a family show.
Right.
But to Avery's point, it was so low energy, and this is a Super Bowl. It is the Super Bowl. Engaging the millions of people watching is work. And unfortunately, I don't think they were in a position where they could give you the work.
Well, let me give you my thoughts on this, because you guys are a lot harsher than I was on this, honestly. Because honestly, visually, other than like dancing, the way it looks, the lighting, all that stuff, they all look kind of cool. They're all kind of the same. Yeah. I don't really go off of that for the most part. But for me, compared to some of the other ones, they sounded like, I get you, they were low energy. They were just doing basically a regular show. But they sounded great though. Like the songs, they sounded great.
Sound good.
They sound like when I walked away, I come back, I'm like, yo, they sound great right now. I get it. They weren't dancing and jumping around, but like, I get that could bring it down. But to me, the way they sounded great. They were singing. I'm pretty sure they were singing live. I don't know, but they sound whether they were or not, lip syncing or not, they sounded great.
They did sound good.
So there were there were a lot of people on here who did not.
That's a good segue, because honestly, the way I feel about the Super Bowl is kind of different. For me, the Super Bowl isn't a concert; it's supposed to be an experience.
I agree.
So the way the stage looks and the lights it's not all the same. Some people go huge, some people don't do as much. But I think that's all part of the show. Dancers, whether fans are on the field, there's so much you can do to bring energy that goes beyond just how your stage looks. One thing I noticed about the Who concert is they didn't even bring the fans out. It was just a stage. It felt like a regular concert.
Yeah,
true.
And that's not what the Super Bowl is. And true. I think
it didn't feel special. I got you.
But to your point, Noah, right, about how much your ability to sing plays a part into it. In 2011, we got the Black Eyed Peas. Now y'all know. I'm not going to do it. Who wants to go first? Black Eyed Peas.
Okay,
I'm not doing this to you guys.
I will just say this: Black Eyed Peas is legendary. I would say they start off as a hip hop group, and they transition to like poppy, and then they do all kinds of stuff now. But
they're pop rap. I think they're the definition of that.
Yeah, but when they came out in the '90s, it was like they're hip hop because will.i.am was in like Death Row and all that stuff. He was signed. He's from Compton, all that stuff. Whatever. Point is, this was by far the worst vocal performance of any of the Super Bowls in this decade, or the past decade, in the 2010, 2020 range. They had so many classics on here, so many amazing songs, so many ones I grew up with, songs I knew off the top of my head, but the vocal performances were terrible. They all sounded terrible. The rapping was off. When they were singing, it was off. Fergie, oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Fergie.
God bless Fergie.
Fergie, God bless you, Fergie. God bless you. God bless you, Fergie.
They brought out...
kind of feel...
Sorry, go ahead.
Avery, go ahead.
I was going to say, they brought out Slash, legendary guitarist Slash of Guns N' Roses fame.
Fergie singing next to her.
And they played Sweet Child of Mine. And Fergie's like I don't even like. I don't want to be mean.
I don't want to be mean.
It wasn't good. It just wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
I'm gonna throw him a bone, and this isn't devil's advocate. This is just
throw him a bone. What?
But here's how I feel about it. I do think it's important to know that the Black Eyed Peas are, as you see, the only performers we've had that's a group in which it's at least, let me take that back, a group with multiple vocalists.
Yeah.
Right. And I think when you think about sound quality in a live show, that did play a part because you're trying to balance like four people's mics. There was sometimes Fergie was too low, will.i.am was too high, Taboo was too low. Like I think you have to kind of give them a little bit because of that, right? I don't think the rapping was bad, and I think we know Fergie can't sing. Like no disrespect, but we know Fergie's main ability isn't her singing. Mm-hmm. And I'll take that a step further and say no one goes to the Black Eyed Peas for their vocal ability. You go to them for their ability to entertain, and they have fun. And from like when they really started blowing up, My Humps and like Pump It Louder, those weren't songs where you're like, oh, listen to how they sound. They were fun, high energy songs. So for me, in delivering a halftime show performance, my expectation for the Black Eyed Peas wasn't that they were going to sound amazing, because I knew they wouldn't. No one really expected they would. But it was, give me a fun, high energy show. That's your brand, and I think they did that.
I disagree.
That's
what you can expect out of a Black Eyed Peas album. But when I'm looking at a Super Bowl halftime show, I want all of it.
I want all of it, exactly.
But I think they gave me. But what I'm saying is, wanting all of it is fine. But I don't think if part of your all of it is like vocal ability, the Black Eyed Peas they can't.
Let me tell you why. Of course, let me tell you why this is a problem. Because honestly, most of these, like, they're dancing. There's all these great visuals. But when they sound terrible, it takes all my attention away from what they're doing.
And then I don't think they were terrible. They weren't great, but they weren't horrible. They weren't. Like, it wasn't, to me, this wasn't like Fergie's basketball, whatever, but the time she did
it wasn't just her.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't
I think will.i.am didn't sound bad to me. Like, and it was really just will.i.am and Fergie. So to me, it wasn't as terrible as I feel like you're making it seem. But I think, and last thing I'll say about it, I think my overarching point is, it's about the experience. And when I take into account how fun it was to watch it and listen to the songs and look at all the green men running around and the stage turning into love, like, that's part of the experience for me. So if I'm going to discount them for how they sounded, I'll give them some props for the show that I think they still were able to deliver. That's all.
I think you look at the next two, and they were able to deliver vocals with it.
Both. That's fair. Hey, that's fair.
That's my problem. That's my problem. Like, Nnamdi, I know we're talking about the show, but all the shows, like, visually, they all look kind of cool. They're crazy, but they're all kind of like, whoa, look at these lights. Like, it comes down to how they sound, and sometimes dancing, but it comes down to how they sound, and that's why and I'm saying I disagree with you because they're not all the same. The stage and lighting, not everyone puts the same amount of thought into it, and you saying that implies that, and that's not the truth.
So if tomorrow The Weeknd sounded bad, but it looked cool, would you be fine with that?
No. God,
no. Wait, no. One, The Weeknd, it has vocal ability. I'm saying that you can't expect a group that is not known for vocal ability to all of a sudden deliver vocal ability.
But I'm saying, if they sound good on their albums, they don't sound good live. Like, that's the problem. Like, there's a difference. Like,
people that
hold on. No. We're not saying, I'm saying there's a difference from saying, like, oh my gosh, she sounds like Whitney Houston. We're not saying that. But on their albums, they sound good. I'm saying there's a difference. Like, when we hear rappers or whatever, you're like, wow, he sounds good on there. Like, they sound good on their album. They did not sound good, period. They just didn't sound good. It was
no one sounds bad on an album because an album has studio work done to it. A live show is different. And I think,
then why did other people sound good and not them?
There were some people who brought these performances who did not sound great, and we're going to get to them later. They're not, the Black Eyed Peas aren't exclusive, but I think the fact that they're a group,
I agree.
Four different people all singing, and they're, again, not known for their vocal ability. I'm just saying I'm not going to grade them that heavily on that.
Exception for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not an exception. I'm just not kind of like I'm not an exception, right? I'm just saying if it's a pie chart, the amount I'm gonna grade them, I can't make vocal ability a central piece of that because I just know they don't have it. For me, it's the show they gave, and I think they delivered an okay show. But to your point, and I'm not discounting this, right? To your point, look at 2012 with Madonna. She did both. So I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying Black Eyed Peas, I think the bar is slightly different. That's all.
Yeah. To me,
on the topic of Madonna, she did it. I think I personally think that show was kind of incredible, and I was someone who wasn't familiar with Madonna's catalog, but she when Noah says everyone does lights and all that stuff, that's not fair because Madonna came in with 100 Caesar's palace troops or whatever those Roman guards are, with huge flags and a gold chair walking in. Like, no, that takes thought and planning. And
My
then
point is
the entire show, it was just incredible. Like, that stage setup that was the bar she set at that
No,
time.
I'm saying this, like, with all the Super Bowls, there's always, whether they're good or you love it, there's always interesting visuals. There's always interesting. Whether some are better, there's always something
varying
interesting.
degrees.
Yeah, but varying degrees, but they're always interesting. Not like, wow, they just put no thought into it. Just some are more interesting than others. Like Madonna, I agree. Hers was she sounded incredible. I don't know whether she sounded great. The performance was great. Honestly, this just got all of it, honestly. And even Nicki was in this one too. Nicki. And Nicki didn't even do much, honestly. She was there for like 2 seconds. Like when they showed
she did her verse. They were only there for one song.
Yeah, it was good though. But Nicki was great. Did they have a band or something like that come out? I don't know. It was dope.
I forgot how good this was. Like,
it was great.
This was
I did too.
Like,
incredible.
I don't really have much more to say other than like.
I agree.
You killed it.
And I will say, I doubt I appreciated it as much in 2012 because again, I wasn't familiar with Madonna's catalog. But rewatching it, I think when you have a performer like Madonna she performed this past her peak, right? Which is not an insult to her because she had a super long career, but this is at the tail end of Madonna's like whatever.
Yeah.
She found a really, really good balance of making her show feel youthful and energizing by bringing out newer artists at that time, without it feeling disjointed and weird. You know, like we're gonna get to Adam Levine, right? But Adam Levine randomly bringing out Travis Scott and Big Boy, that felt disjointed. We'll get there, right? Madonna bringing out Nicki and MIA, it felt like it worked. Her bringing out CeeLo Green,
MIA was there.
Her bringing out CeeLo Green for Express Yourself, it felt like it worked. Her bringing out LMFAO and kind of doing Party Rock Anthem, it felt like it worked.
Like, aged poorly either. Like that was like I wouldn't see LMFAO and be like, ew. Like,
yeah, I was like, wow, they sound great too. That's another thing. See, that's why Black Eyed Peas bothered me so much, because nobody's like, LMFAO is an incredible, they're hype, but they
weren't headlining the show. They sang
no,
one verse.
I know that. I'm saying, but for that part, I get you. I'm saying that's why, because LMFAO is in the same kind of mold a little bit as the Black Eyed Peas, and that's why. I get you. Not a whole show, different. We don't know how it went for the whole show, but for the part they did, they sounded great for me. But we all love Madonna, so we all love Madonna's show.
Did y'all know they were cousins?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, no. Is it cousins or is it uncle and nephew? It may be uncle and nephew.
Something like that. Yeah.
I learned that a couple weeks ago. I thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the uncle is the one with the afro. That was the shock for me.
Yeah. He's the next one from.
I'm still sad they're gone.
Yeah.
So wait,
2013. New Orleans.
Madonna set the bar, and honestly, if you had to ask yourself who could follow up Madonna, I think the only person at that time, and that's why they got her, is Beyonce. Only person I think that could have done it.
Watching this felt unfair to everyone I was gonna watch afterwards. Like, this was. I thought this was just like. I don't feel like this has been surpassed yet.
Avery, wow. I did not. So a little backstory. Avery sent a text to our group chat and was like, "This Beyonce performance, .. And I was like, Avery, stop. I was like, stop. I thought Avery was gonna be like, look, I don't like it.
No,
I don't like it,
guys. I remember watching it and being like amazed, and now I'm watching it like 7 years later, 8 years later. I'm still amazed. That was like amazing. That was amazing.
It was great.
Hands down, best vocal and dancing ability of any show to this day.
I agree.
The video
that's the thing I got
behind her with her dancing next to herself, like all the little, like how I know it's like Beyonce, like it's almost become like she's like it's like her thing, how great of a performer she is, but like how on cue she was with everything. Like her foot was in the right place for like the light to emanate out of it on like the stage below her. It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Well, that's why I love her, because she easily had the best dancing. And we're probably going to get to her again when she does it in 2016, but she has the best dancing out of any of these and performing all together. Like, I remember we were talking about J-Lo a little bit. It was like she can dance. She was dancing and she was singing, but she couldn't really, she had to stay in a little thing, which was okay. But Beyonce really gave the whole package. I love Destiny's Child.
Loved it.
Who else was in the show? Let me look.
I'm still mad their mics were messed up, but still loved it.
Their entrances were so cool. How they like popped out from the bottom, like it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I will say, compared to Madonna's show and the Black Eyed Peas show, Beyonce didn't have as much like. She had visuals, don't get me wrong, but she didn't rely on them. I feel kind of rely on as big as a spectacle sort of thing. as much as the others did, she wanted you to know that I can do this with just my ability. Like I can sing and dance with a mirror of just myself, and like and still kill it and make you engage.
And hearing all of Destiny's Child sing Single Ladies was like really great too. Like I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was good too. I agree.
So then we got Bruno Mars the year after.
I liked it.
I liked it. Definitely a step down in terms of performance because he's not the same dancer
from the last.
But yeah, but he doesn't have to. I like the way it came in. Honestly, I like the. It was like a little kid or something. I don't remember. Yeah. It was like a little kid coming in.
So
I liked it. I really liked this one. I thought it was really good.
Bruno Mars's performance was not bad to me. I just think it was unfair to him because I don't think he was ready for a Super Bowl at this time. I felt that way when he was announced back in 2014, and I feel that way today. I don't think he had a Super Bowl ready catalog. And I think that hurt him in this because if Bruno Mars he comes back 2 years later, if that was his headlining show, when we had Uptown Funk, when we had that little album, you would have had a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But in 2014, I think he had about 2 albums, and you could tell from the songs he chose. He chose Billionaire. He chose Just the Way You Are, which at that point wasn't even, was one of his first songs. He chose Pleasure. Like, he didn't have a huge array of songs to pull from. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers thing, I think, was supposed to help him, but that sort of felt disjointed to me. Even though I was happy they were there. I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers are dope. But it didn't sink well in my head. And it was like, I don't think Bruno Mars at that time was ready for a Super Bowl. And you could tell in the show.
They only played one Red Hot Chili Pepper song, I think, which was Given Away. And also, I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you guys remember that I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers had to apologize after the show because like their guitarist, like his guitar wasn't plugged into the amp. So people were like, it's obvious that he's not playing guitar.
Dang.
Yeah, I remember that.
You guys remember that?
I know that.
I remember that.
I'm remembering it correctly. That's what happened.
I agree with you because a lot of these are like they go off in nostalgia because like, wow, you played the old song. I love this song. Oh, she's playing all her hits. Oh, it's like that. And he only has 3 albums anyway already.
2 albums at the time.
Yeah, 2 albums at the time.
Literally had 2
and he just released one like because this is basically the beginning of 2013 or 2014 actually, right?
14.
So, yeah, 14. So
Locked Out of Heaven had just came out because that came out in January. I remember that. And then he performed it as the opening track. That should tell you, like he didn't have the catalog, and it was unfair to him, I think, to try to make him the Super Bowl halftime show. There were other people that they could have around.
What if they had the Chili Peppers headlining it, and then they had Bruno as like?
Low key, that may have been because the Chili they have more of a catalog, and then it would have just been a rock show, but like lean into that.
But but to say all that, I thought he was still good. I still thought he was good. I still thought he was good. It didn't hurt his performance. Well, it did hurt it a little bit because like wow, he could have if he had just a bigger catalog. But the songs he did,
this wasn't memorable because of it. That's why I think it.
Yeah, it wasn't memorable. It was like wow, remember Bruno Mars had that moment when he played that Uptown Funk. It's like it was. I agree with you, Nnamdi. That's a good point. But it was still solid. So.
Yeah.
Katy Perry came in 2015. It was a good show. I think Katy Perry was a good. Bruno Mars kind of gave us lumping energy. No shots, Bruno. Katy Perry, I think, lifted it back up, coming in, on like a little mechanical tiger thing. She had the hits. She's a good example of knowing when an artist who's relatively new is ready to headline the Super Bowl. Because at this time, 2014, Katy Perry also, I think, only had 3 albums.
3 albums. 2015.
But you have to remember that of those 3 albums, we may forget now how big she was, but of those 3 albums, she had like Teenage Dream had like 5 number 1s just on that album.
That song's
so she had enough hits. She had enough bona fide to do the show.
Teenage Dream is fantastic.
Yeah. This is 2015, but I mean, it was just really middle of the pack compared to these. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I get people love the Tiger coming out. For me, it was very like. It was cool. It wasn't bad. I was like, wow, that was bad. I was just really like
in the middle of the pack because of like she's just not she's not an artist that entertains you. Or do you think the actual show was the middle of the pack show?
I mean, this is just a taste thing for me personally. It's just a taste thing. Like I get people love the Tiger coming out and all that stuff. It was just really like for me personally.
Because you don't like Katy Perry.
No, I never said
that. Like you wouldn't. Well, you said taste. So I'm saying because traditionally she may not be the kind of artist you listen to. So maybe it wasn't as.
I won't even say that because Madonna's not even. It's like. Well, I'm not saying that because Madonna's not the type of artist I listen to, but I thought that show was incredible. I thought it was amazing. So I mean, just for me, I was just like, I was just like, for me, personally. I mean, the songs like She Played Teenage Girls, like Kiss a Girl, all that stuff. That was cool. I love that. I mean, I love those songs. I love those songs. Those songs are really memorable. But I loved Missy Elliott came out. That was cool. Missy Elliott came out. Lenny Kravitz came out. That was okay, I guess.
Oh, yeah, Lenny Kravitz was good.
That was cool. But it was just really.
Lenny Kravitz singing "I Kissed a Girl" I think was really smart instead of doing like his own song.
I agree. That was good. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just really.
It was kind of weird to me though. I don't understand the random displacements. Like I'm happy Missy Elliott got that moment because she did like 2-3 songs, but I didn't understand why it fit. But I mean, I'll say I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was entertaining, and I remember at the time when Katy Perry was announced, people were like, "Oh, well, will people like her? Like, is she the Super Bowl type of artist?" And I think she did a good job relative to the expectations or hype that may have been set on her.
Never forget the meme that came out of it, of the left shark, not
left shark.
Remembering how to dance.
Wait, what was it?
It was the shark on the left, like the shark on the right was killing it. The shark on the left was just like, waving his hands around like he didn't know what to do. This was a left shark.
Now,
Avery, what do you think? Avery, what do you think of this show? I don't know if we got your.
We didn't get your take.
I really like this one.
Yeah,
I think
I think it was a little bit.
I thought Coldplay was really good. I think they were doing Milo's Iloto. Which
wait, no.
Like Katy Perry.
Oh, Katy Perry. My bad.
Oh, whoa.
No, I thought it was good.
That's gonna be a whole thing going.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
I thought it had good spectacle for a Katy Perry show. Like I think it was a good way for her to capitalize on her moment. That was good. She had good songs.
Cool.
Now I'm sorry. Let's get back to Coldplay. So you like the Coldplay one?
Hold on. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, continue your thought. Finish your. So go back to Coldplay.
Yeah. I think was this them doing? I forgot what album this was for. I think it's for Milo's Iloto.
Paradise.
Good album. Bruno Mars was cool. Lady Gaga or not Lady Gaga. Beyonce was great. I thought she really killed it. I thought she was the best part of the whole thing. Obviously. Also made a bunch of white people mad, which is great as well. I don't know. Did you guys not like this? I also think that.
I mean, judging this performance for me is difficult because it's like if I'm judging it as a Coldplay Super Bowl, it was horrible. It was horrible.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree.
Because Coldplay, you forget no one remembers this was the Coldplay Super Bowl halftime performance. Nobody. People remember Bruno doing Uptown Funk and Beyonce doing Formation.
You know what's
so if I'm judging it as a Coldplay performance, bad. If I'm judging it generally as a Super Bowl performance, even then it's like a 6 because the back end of it is great to me because you have Formation, Uptown Funk, but the front half comparatively is like, oh well, that was boring. And then I was mad. Last thing I'll say. Coldplay and Beyonce were on a stage. They didn't perform their song together. So I was like, well, what was the point of it? Because,
the song,
what's it called?
Part of it. Yeah.
Now, let me say this. Let me say this about this. I'm overrating this Super Bowl halftime performance already. I'll just say it. I'm overrating it. But this is like, first of all, I love that Coldplay album, Viva La Vida. I listen to that. My history teacher used to play that all the time. I love that album. So I love those songs that they played.
This album though, right? That's the old album.
No, he played songs from that album though. He played songs from that album.
They were doing Milo's Iloto, I think.
Yeah, the new album, but they played some classic ones too.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And I get you. The performance overall wasn't great. I like that it was outside. They sounded great, but the whole performance as a whole wasn't great. But this like that halftime where Steph Curry has 0 at the half, and next half they get 30. Like Beyonce just carried. Honestly, but to me, it's so memorable. Like the part when her and Bruno Mars were going back and forth, like, ladies, let's get in formation. Yeah. And then he went back, hey, ladies, hey, guys, that part was so dope. And the way they did the camera work, and then they did like a little collage of like James Brown performing at the Super Bowl and all these other ones.
Say is that like started singing over like the past.
Yeah.
So which was
even though as a whole performance, I get you guys want to grade it high, but for me, this is the one I was like, this was my favorite because Beyonce was that good. Beyonce and Bruno Mars together to me when they came.
And that's why
I said that good to me.
That's why I said this one is super hard to judge for me because it's like, yes, that was amazing. But like if I give the last half of it, if I give that a 95, right? Because it was just that good, damn near 100 because it was that good.
You got to give Coldplay 60.
The front half
60,
like a 40.
Yeah.
The average is a 70. So all of a sudden it's like, damn, they got a C. So that's why it's difficult for me. But I definitely agree that like as far as the cultural impact of Formation and how swaggy it was, to this day, I think Bruno Mars. Imagine if Bruno Mars got this as his halftime show year, like 2016.
He would have killed it. He would have killed
it. It would have been a whole different.
They stole the show. And where Bruno Mars and Beyonce were right, like next week they were talking, right there. They killed it. But Coldplay definitely brought it down a level.
So, just for time, we're gonna get to these next ones. So Lady Gaga, y'all already know how I feel. I thought this is a great show. Honestly, I'm not surprised that this is now the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show. I'm not surprised.
Really?
All platforms.
Is it because the memes?
I think Just TV is Katy Perry. Just TV is Katy Perry, but all platforms it's Lady Gaga.
Interesting.
And,
This is good.
You know what's interesting you brought up? It's interesting you brought up Katy Perry, but Lady Gaga, I really enjoyed hers. It was hers like I don't know. Lady Gaga's always like interesting and creative with it. Her jumping down, you know, that was fun. That was a meme. That was a moment.
The drones were cool too. Like
the
awesome.
Yeah, that was like a moment when she jumped down. That whole thing. That was a moment.
Her vocals were great. Her dancing.
Lady Gaga's
I don't
a great
think
singer.
for her dancing, but I think her performing was great.
Yeah.
She had hits. She reminded you of all the hits she had.
Of course.
And it was a fun show.
I agree. Good show.
And I think that's like it was a very good show. I think it was Beyonce and Bruno, to your point, had made such a cultural moment the year before. Mostly Beyonce, but I think Lady Gaga was able to still like do her thing and like set a bar because it was a really good show.
Yeah, of course. It's the most viewed for a reason. So.
Yeah. Then we got to JT.
Okay, we just watched this one.
It
wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. It wasn't like great. Definitely not top. What? Six?
Definitely.
That's a middle of the pack, if not like kind of middle to far back of the pack performance.
I'm agreeing with Nnamdi. It wasn't as bad as I remember, and I kind of blame the way it was shot. Like I hate that shot, and that's a part of it too, the camera work. But that shot when they were coming up from the crowd and the girls were just standing there.
Yeah.
I was like, "What are y'all doing?"
Like you mean that opening scene, right? Like the
opening scene. It was like a couple minutes later, and they were. It was like when you come in. You know, when like if you've been to a football, you've probably been to one. You guys have been to those. Like when you walk in and then you see you can walk here, like that part, and the girls were just standing there, and he was kind of looking to each girl.
Yeah.
It was weird. I didn't like it. It was like, yo, this is just not shot good.
His outfit is atrocious. I'm sorry.
Outfit is atrocious.
It's so bad.
He has some great songs.
I didn't like. For me, the opening was low energy. I feel like the opening of a Super Bowl show again is like super big. You have like let's think about what we had before. Katy Perry came in on a mechanical lion. Gaga jumped off a roof. Beyonce had like a fire silhouette of herself, and he was in front of like a box, like a club box.
So performing in an underground club.
Yeah, the thing that saves
it
it saves it because JT. I mean, he has great songs like classics. So like he has one of the
classics.
Yeah, but
but can I say what also will be like a huge stain on this for me? Then I'll like shut up on JT and let y'all go. For obvious reasons. Part of the reason why I will never rank this higher than like 5 is because I personally can't get over Janet Jackson, and I'm sure. Maybe they invited Janet Jackson back and she said no. I would not be surprised if Janet was like, I'm not doing it with you. But to me, that should have been like, if she's not
I don't
doing
think they would do that.
I got it.
I
didn't think
they invited her back. For this one?
No. Noah, yes. Are you kidding?
I don't think
this is not 2000 anymore, 2003. This is 2018. Your nipple showing on live TV isn't going to cancel you anymore.
Oh, no. First of all,
wait, what I'm saying is, there's no way you're going to tell me JT thought he could come back to the Super Bowl and not acknowledge that he kind of ruined the woman's career for his actions.
All I'm saying is this.
Well, let me finish this thought. So not inviting her back, or her not coming back, does feel like a huge omission that I couldn't get past the entire performance. I never forget that he ripped her thing off, but Janet Jackson pretty much solely suffered the brunt of the fallout from that.
Let me say this. I feel you on the whole thing, and Janet Jackson should never got. I mean, Justin Timberlake's the one that ripped her thing off. You know, that's what happened. I agree with you. It's a little weird, but I don't think because Janet Jackson, honestly, she hasn't. When's the last time she made new music? Just to say like she hasn't come up with anything. She's not making music. She hasn't released music, and who knows what. Like when's the last time y'all?
I'm pretty sure she actually put out an album that year.
Did she? Nobody was talking about it. Probably.
I remember the album cover. I'm imagining it in my head right now. I think she put out an album that year. That was 2017, right? Or 2018?
2018.
I'm pretty sure she got an album that year.
But no, I'm completely with Nnamdi. The big stain on this is like, okay, Janet Jackson got basically blackballed from the Super Bowl for something that wasn't her fault. And the guy who perpetrated the action is like there as the headliner. So I'm with Nnamdi. Like, to me, that's the big stain on this.
I agree. He shouldn't have came back because he's the perpetrator. And honestly, the fact that the whole controversy,
Okay, she put
Janet
out an
Jackson
album
should never.
2015. Sorry,
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a while. Like nobody. It was a while. It was
But that's
later.
still not like she
No, I
doesn't
agree.
need an album. You know.
I'm just saying. I agree. I just agree. I just think the whole thing, what happened in 2003, it should never been like a whole controversy. It's like Justin Timberlake made a mistake. Janet Jackson didn't do anything. It should have just been like, wow, mistake happened on TV. It's nobody's fault. We both just messed up.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have been a whole controversy. Like the fact that they got backlash because Janet Jackson had no control. She just stood there and, I agree.
But you have to remember this is 2003.
No, I got you. It was 2003, but the fact that people got mad about it because it was obviously nobody's fault. It just happened. It's stupid. And I agree. Like Janet Jackson, like the fact that she got blackballed from the Super Bowl basically from doing that, it sucks. But the whole thing, to me, it just goes back to like this never should have been a whole thing because it was just a simple, wardrobe malfunction. And I feel like Janet should come back. They should invite her back one day to do something. I feel like they should.
But like my thing is, even if she does, that will forever make this performance is not good to me. Not only that, and then it was just a whole bunch of missed opportunities. He didn't bring in sync out.
I was
He
really
didn't
gonna say that. Like, how do you do a Super Bowl
like,
show when you not bring back NSYNC?
Yeah.
Well, because he was doing that. Because remember, he released the album like around this time and it was bad anyway. And
he performed one song from it anyway. Like you could have brought in. He would have been better served performing "Bye Bye Bye" and another NSYNC song than performing anything up and down the woods.
The whole thing was just very
Blah.
blah, and he had that blah suit on it. Blah.
It's not even
Blah
bad.
suit on.
That's horrific. That's horrendous.
Okay.
So the next year we got Maroon 5, Adam Levine, who honestly kind of makes after JT. That's not really that much of a flip. JT to Adam Levine.
The other thing for me is like, how do you have a Super Bowl in Atlanta and then have Maroon 5?
I think people said no. Remember, this is when Cap was blown.
I know, but I was mad then and I'm mad now. So
well, yeah.
But Avery, to your point though, I think because of Cap, you couldn't get Rihanna, right? You couldn't get anyone super big. Right. But they could have said, we're doing an Atlanta themed show. We're gonna get Sierra, we're gonna get Usher, we're gonna get Outkast, and we're gonna get who's another bit like Ludacris. Like they 4 of them, put them on a stage, it would have been an entertaining halftime show in my opinion.
Yeah,
but Maroon 5 and then trying to enter Atlanta, it was weird.
Yeah, I know. It's just the Super Bowl. I'm just never convinced they're gonna do I'm just never convinced until I see it that they're gonna do a rapper as a headline. I'm just never convinced Super Bowl's gonna do it. I'm just never convinced they're gonna do it until like I was like Atlanta. Like there's so many options. Like this one, it couldn't even have to be a headline. It could just brought all these Atlanta-based artists. Just like, hey, y'all, it's Atlanta.
No, that's the thing. No, you're repeating literally verbatim what I just said.
Nnamdi.
That's exactly.
Oh my gosh. I'm not saying.
No, I'm just saying we're in agreement. We're in agreement.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Because I can't like
the most memorable part of this to me is Travis Scott. Like
easily.
It's like the SpongeBob thing was fun just because we all grew up.
He sold the show.
And then Travis Scott came out and like the part where he was like rapping with Adam Levine playing the guitar.
They should have
so cool.
They should have let him do one more song, like "Stop Trying to Be God" or something like that.
Right? He did Goosebumps and.
No, he didn't do Goosebumps. He just did that one song.
The Sicko Mode.
Wait, did he only what song did he do? Sicko Mode?
Yeah.
Is that
only
Goosebumps?
Yeah. They should let him do 2 or 3 songs.
He should have headlined, honestly, if they're gonna.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. If Travis said yes, why not let him headline? Or maybe co-headline with someone. They could have found
co-headline, or let him do the second half, like the next one, like the next year, like Shakira and J-Lo. Yeah. You know, they just basically did a co-headline.
Yeah.
Big boy.
Speaking of which, J-Lo, Shakira, that was a great show.
Okay, this was the first time I'd watched it because I was not around when this Super Bowl happened.
He was being a journalist overseas. If any of you are curious,
the first time I watched it was today. And for some reason, I thought people didn't like it, and so that was the lens I had going into it. This was awesome.
People like it.
I have since been informed that people like it, but to me, this was great. This was so good. Bad Bunny was awesome. Maluma was awesome. Shakira was awesome. J-Lo was good.
This is a better version. You know how we talked about not the same level because Coldplay was like not as good as, but I'm saying like Shakira to me clearly outshined J-Lo at this part. And to me, when J-Lo came on, to me personally, when J-Lo came on, she was still fine. She was still solid. She looked great. I mean, they were both cut. I was like, God dang, they're cut. Golly. They were dancing. They were dancing their butt off. You know, they was, you know, and J-Lo was just really, her vocals were really dry. That's all I got to say about it. It was really, J-Lo from the, it was really dry.
Yeah,
it was
sorry. I'm not
dry.
Okay. I will say that part of the reason I like this show is I don't think either of them outshined each other. I think what made it so strong is they both gave really, really strong performances for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like Shakira, she was just her with her dancers, and she gave you a show. She gave you some culture. She, to her, I forgot I think it's called like Baralia, the thing where she did with her tongue. She did the belly roll. She gave you some culture with it. She sang the hits.
With
it
the
was
rope.
fun for that way. J-Lo, who gave you a little bit more of a experience. She had the poles. She had props. She had, her dance moves. Like it. I don't think it was competing, and I think it actually worked really well together. And then when they come back out together in the end and perform Waka Waka and Let's Get Loud, like
they didn't do Waka Waka. Did they?
Yes, they did.
They did?
The very end. It's the last song Shakira does. It's Waka. They do Waka
Oh, that's
Waka.
right. That's right. Yeah.
And then having Bad Bunny and Maluma, I think it all worked out so well. I didn't like how they performed Mi Gente, and I like it because at the time the Beyonce Mi Gente had just come out, and even though I know that wasn't Cardi B's, I like it, but it was like that was the moment, and it felt like ignoring that was kind of like, well, why even include it? But I thought it was a really good show. I really did think it was a great show.
And I have to point out that Jay-Z and Roc Nation produces. It's like when Jay-Z was in the fold. So
That
was their first, right? Yeah, that was their first.
Bad Bunny and J Balvin were good.
Yep.
J Balvin was and M.A. Muniz. How do you say his name? I don't know. No, but there was special guest Bad Bunny, J Balvin, and the last guy, M.A. Muniz. I don't know how to say his name. There was a couple.
Was it not? Wait, maybe I don't think it was Maluma then. Who was it?
I don't know. They were all great. All the guest appearances. I still feel like they should have got Pitbull in Miami.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I never forget that. Yeah.
Pitbull been grinding doing NBA All-Star weekends for years, man. Like, come on now, get this man a shot.
We were to quickly rank these. What are we at?
That's Avery's way of saying, y'all hurry up.
Okay. Number one. We're going to start with number one.
M.A. Muniz is Jennifer Lopez's daughter.
Got you.
So yeah, number one. This is hard. Well, no, I think is it easier to start with 10 or 11 and work down?
I think
no. Let's start with one. Maybe it's easier to start with one.
Okay. First one.
I think it's Beyonce.
Beyonce. Me personally. 20. Whoa. Who do you think?
Okay. No. Okay.
Okay. Let me say the next one, and let's see how you feel. But I think
this is why. No, yo, I think maybe we should start at the end because I'm looking at this Beyonce and I'm like, I don't know if this sits right, and you're locking it in, and I'm like,
Okay.
Above Beyonce.
Okay.
Because I'm like, there was.
Who?
Okay. Beyonce. Fine. Fine.
Number two for me, and honestly, I was considering this damn near number one, but Madonna for me, bro. I don't know who is better other than Beyonce. Who is better than Madonna?
I think Lady Gaga's show is really good though.
Oh yeah.
Better than Madonna?
I don't even think I'm being unfair. I think Lady Gaga's show was really, really good.
It was really
I think
good.
the vocals were on par. I think
I'm
she danced
fine
well. I
with
think the drone things were cool.
I vote Madonna.
Madonna was also amazing though. So I'm like, I'm trying to decide.
I think Lady Gaga was good. I think Madonna was really stellar.
I'm okay with saying Madonna because I think she had a bigger challenge because she wasn't that generation and she still delivered.
Yeah, and she was stellar.
Number three is Lady Gaga.
Stellar show.
Number three is gonna be Lady Gaga for me.
Yeah. Ooh, this one it gets kind of tough.
Number four.
You guys are probably gonna say Katy Perry, but
no, I'm saying Shakira J-Lo.
I'm cool with that too.
That was a great Shakira J-Lo was really good. Like I feel like that's easy.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Now this is when it kind of gets, for me at least, this is when it kind of gets like, what are we doing now?
Jeez, Avery can't spell Jennifer.
Okay.
Calling Avery out.
Over here.
So
somebody say a name.
It's for me. Number five is between. This is when it gets hard for me because it's like I don't know how I want to judge Coldplay. I don't know how I want to judge it.
To me, I gotta do Coldplay because it was too much of a moment, bro.
No, hold on, wait. Katy Perry. Why not explain to me why not Katy Perry before we say Coldplay?
Beyonce and Bruno Mars going back and forth was better than any one moment from Katy Perry show.
But it wasn't their halftime show, and you can't discount.
It's a part of the show.
Wait. My issue with that is the majority of the show was not Beyonce, Bruno Mars. The majority of the show was Coldplay, and they did not deliver that year.
Yeah, but they had a good amount. They were in there for like 4 minutes.
I can't say the two songs that the one song Beyonce did and the one song that Bruno did makes up for the entire lackluster performance.
Yeah, but it was for like 5 minutes. It wasn't like a 1 minute thing. They were there for a minute. They were there for a long time.
No, they each did a song. It was like
but they were going back up. It wasn't like
it may feel like a minute, but in actuality, it was probably like 3.5 minutes, and like Coldplay and them was still the show. So that's like, if I'm thinking a top 5, I think I have to go Katy Perry before, because Katy Perry delivered her own show and it was a good show. The entire thing was good. The full performance, the full.
Is this the Jay Electronica effect? It's like, wow, Jay Electronica, Jay-Z killed him.
No, literally, it is.
I'm with Nnamdi. I think
I got you. Okay. I just love that part so much. Like that one moment, I love more than any of those moments.
I think it should be 6. Okay.
No, yeah, and I'm okay with that. But I'm thinking top 5. I just can't. Coldplay does not deserve that top 5.
I feel you. I just love that part so much, guys. I love that part so much. Coldplay. This one it gets interesting. Maroon 5. Next.
Hold on. Wait.
You got to put them in there.
No.
Wait.
No.
I don't know.
Are you kidding me? No.
Who else?
No.
Nnamdi, these are when it gets bad.
No.
What are you talking about? Like,
no. But I know Maroon 5 isn't there yet. Hold on. I'm gonna say.
I'd put Bruno above them.
Oh, Bruno. I forgot about Bruno. Yeah, Bruno. I put Bruno.
That's fair.
Bruno.
But Bruno's next. Okay.
I'll put Bruno. Yeah, right. Bruno. You're right. Good point. My bad.
Mars.
So now Maroon 5?
No, I'm still not Maroon. Y'all aren't gonna like me. I want to put Black Eyed Peas.
No. We're not allowing
fight with this because no. I'm gonna fight because look, the Black Eye. Y'all are gonna try to put it at 11, and it's not number 11 for me. I don't think that's fair.
No,
number 11 for me is the Who.
11. It's not.
It's not 11 for me.
Can we put?
Well, what are you putting? Sorry, was JT better than that much better of a show than the Black Eyed? I was entertained throughout the entire Black Eyed Peas. At the very minimum, I was entertained throughout the entire show. I cannot say the same for Justin Timberlake.
Timberlake sang better than any 4 member of the Black Eyed Peas.
Honestly, those are interchangeable, so I don't mind either one. Like 10, 11.
Can we put the Who at 11? Is the Who going at 11?
I think I'm putting the Who at 11. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Okay.
At least I like.
It just wasn't like no disrespect to them, but like I bet if I didn't
20. Okay, what I can give the Black Eyed Peas credit for is it felt like the start of a new generation of Super Bowl halftime shows. Like it felt like that was the blueprint going forward. But that being said, I don't think that just because it's the blueprint, everyone else did it better after that.
Yeah. So 10.
But they set a bar. I'm putting
everyone else surpassed it.
Everyone's
y'all people surpassed it, but again, like the show did its job. It was a fun, high energy, entertaining show.
Nnamdi,
that's what I wanted from them.
We're not saying you're wrong, but if everyone surpassed it, that means everybody after them surpassed them. So that makes them 10 quite literally. It makes them 10 quite literally.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't think Adam Levine surpassed them as far as show experience. I don't think Maroon 5 surpassed them as far as show experience. No, I don't.
Travis Scott was cooler than the Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas.
But again, Travis Scott's one song carries the entire Maroon 5 performance.
Damn near.
Like that's not. I'm not. That's. I feel like to me that's them being unfair to Black Eyed Peas. If all of this hesitancy is because they didn't sound great, the Black Eyed Peas aren't.
Nnamdi.
Okay, but hold on. But my point is the Black Eyed Peas aren't singers. They are not singers.
Nnamdi, it does. Nnamdi, I'm not. Nnamdi, we're not talking about their. We're not talking about their vocal skills.
Will.i.am doesn't sound bad rapping, so you can't be talking about singing.
He did sound bad.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he sounded.
Nnamdi, at what point did he sound bad rapping? And
I'm not talking about
that was dope. You had
Nnamdi.
Slash, that was dope.
We're allowed to say that rappers don't sound good, and they didn't sound good. They didn't. The whole time I was out like they do not sound good. All of them. They all sounded bad. All of them.
What I'm saying is the entire time when you said they don't sound good, I've been saying singing because the rapping didn't sound bad to me. That wasn't a noticeable flaw in the performance to me.
It did.
The flaws in the performance was Fergie singing and the times where you could hear the mics was messed up, so you would hear Taboo singing, and he's not a singer. And then for me, beyond that, Slash, that was a cool enough moment. Usher, that was a cool enough moment for me.
Oh yeah,
and again,
nobody remembers.
They sort of set a bar of what the performance would be. They gave you a show. It was a fun show.
I say take it to a vote.
At the very minimum, it puts him over Maroon 5 in my eyes. At a very minimum, it puts him over Maroon 5.
But Maroon 5 was better than JT. In my opinion.
I think JT.
Maroon 5 was better than JT.
I'd do Maroon 5, JT, Black Eyed Peas.
That's me too. I'm exactly with you. I'm exactly with you.
Oh, I so disagree.
Nnamdi, you can still listen to their music and enjoy it. We love that.
That's so. The show, the entire of that performance was not worse than JT Maroon 5. That's such bull
To me,
malarkey
it
in my opinion.
was. They're
JT
singing the
Oh, I
fact that
so
they're-
heavily
To me,
disagree with you
JT and
guys.
Black Eyed Peas is more of an argument than I think Maroon 5 was better than Black Eyed Peas in my opinion. But JT and Black Eyed Peas is more of an argument. Like if you
like
can
how
switch those
poor their vocal
This is so
performance
wild
was
to
to me
me.
detracted from the rest of the show.
so much.
And I don't even think, and I honestly, I don't even think the vocal performance was as horrible as you guys are making it seem. I think you're putting weight on Fergie, and I think that's unfair.
No, it's
And,
not
like,
just
It's not
okay.
all.
Okay, this is the
This
thing
is
though.
wild.
Fergie was the worst part, but they all didn't sound good to me. They all didn't sound good to me. Fergie made it bad, but they all didn't sound good to me personally. So that's just me.
Usher didn't even sing.
Okay, well, we're not going to argue. So, so what? So y'all think Maroon 5 deserves to go next as
I
number
think
8?
Yes.
To me, it's Maroon 5, Justin Timberlake.
No, I think it's Maroon 5, Black Eyed Peas, Justin Timberlake.
Okay, we can put. Actually, nah. I can't.
We're arguing over the bottom 4. Let's just put them.
Yeah, that's why I say it's the bottom 4. Like, what are we talking about? Come on, now. What are we talking about? Okay, you know what, Avery, let's put Black Eyed Peas 9. Just to.
I just can't believe it.
Nnamdi, it's bad.
If y'all,
Bad. Nnamdi,
I want to put, what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do.
honestly,
After this, no, like literally after we record, like today,
we're to listen to it.
I'm making a poll on Twitter and I'm saying who had the worst halftime show performance, 2010 and up. I'm gonna put the Who.
To me, that's
I'm
not
gonna
fair
Maroon
because we
5.
just, people. Okay,
No, I know, but
okay, but from what we remember, because a lot of people are gonna go off of their memory. Because like from what I remember, I was like, man, Shakira and J-Lo was okay, and it was a lot better than I thought. So just people are gonna go off of like, oh, Beyonce was great, JT sucked. Like I don't know.
No, but we're not saying best. I'm going to literally make a poll and I'm going to say who had the worst show out of these 4, because I truly think I just watched Black Eyed Peas and I see the vocals aren't amazing, but they're not singers. And I didn't think the rapping sounded
How about
bad.
after
Like,
this?
The rapping wasn't off tune to me, so I don't. If it's not off tune, I don't know what you mean by it sounds bad.
We're
Or it's
already
not
off.
If it's not off key, then what do you?
We're already out of time. We're going too far. After this, let's
Okay,
watch
well,
it together. So put. I think we voted.
We are.
Outvoted Nnamdi.
Okay.
I think we outvoted Nnamdi. I think that's what it comes down to.
Wait. So y'all are gonna play this good. This is the hill. We're gonna do that. I'm outvoted. Y'all aren't just gonna put Black Eyed Peas
Okay,
in
well,
nine.
there's 3 of us. We
Hill.
all have equal say, and 2 of us said it was.
This is the hill.
Well,
We've done that. We did that with the albums too. So, I mean, Avery's still mad about what's the name not making the neighborhood not making the top 5 alternative. He's still mad about that. He's still mad.
if 3 of us are equally represented in a vote, then 2 of us.
Well,
voted
Noah
for
said he
it.
doesn't care. So at this point, I don't give a. And I only didn't say it because I'm not trying to get canceled again. So I'm over it. I don't care. Our 1 through 10. Queen Bee, number 1, Beyonce, number 2, Madonna, number 3, Lady Gaga, J-Lo, Shakira, number 4, number 5, Katy Perry, number 6, Coldplay, but mostly Beyonce and Bruno Mars.
Yep.
7, Bruno Mars solo with Red Hot Chili Peppers. 8, Maroon 5 featuring Travis Scott and Big Boy. 9, Justin Timberlake, Travesty, disagree. 10, Black Eyed Peas, You Deserve Better. I disagree with my co-host. Tweet me if you agree. And 11, The Who. So there you have it, the 97 Demos rankings of Super Bowls. I'm sure I'm interested to see where The Weeknd will fall on this list.
Yeah, where do you
Stay
guys
tuned
think?
next week to find out.
Thing is how like the top 5 here are all women. Where do you guys think?
I
It's
think
gonna be
women
hard for-
consistently have delivered better shows.
I agree.
It's
Where
gonna
do you
be
guys
hard.
think the Weeknd's gonna stack up here?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard
I
for him
think-
to crack the top 3. Hard because those
I-
3 are really good. I said top 3.
I think I could see The Weeknd giving a show that will be in the top
3.
top 3, top 4.
He's capable.
The Weeknd is going to do what these other male performers didn't do, and he's already
True.
told us he's going to build out an amazing set, and he said, I want it to be a thematic cinematic experience. Hearing that alone tells me he's going to be top 6 at least. So
And he might become, other than Beyonce with Formation in 2016, he might be coming off the best album too
Mhm.
than any of these people. Like the album he came out with around the time is like better than any of these people. Than they
For
came,
sure.
other than Formation, other than Beyonce with Lemonade.
Damn, we spent so much time arguing about that. Hold on, let's wrap up real quick. So we moved chart headlines towards the end, and we're gonna do it differently. I'm just gonna highlight a couple songs
Yeah.
super quick. On the Hot 100, I wanted to mention Olivia Rodrigo because we didn't mention her because we weren't recording, but she's sort of been like this huge force. Her song "Driver's License," which I didn't listen, I still haven't listened to the full thing, has broken a ton of records. The day it came out, it broke Spotify records for most streams. Same with Amazon Prime. It debuted at number one in the U.S., the U.K., Australia, Ireland, Israel, the Netherlands, Malaysia, Finland, Canada. It was number one on the Billboard Global charts. Like, this literally is quite the biggest number one hit of 2021, and she's super young. I think she's 17.
She was on Fallon.
So that's sort of incredible. She's still number one on this week.
She was on Fallon the other
Avery,
night.
what'd you say?
She was on Jimmy Fallon a couple nights ago, saying
Cool.
this is like,
Oh, that's dope.
this is like the TikTok effect magnified. I feel like this is like a prime example of the TikTok effect. So
Got you. Yeah.
But my thing is could it be more? Because worldwide though, is
I know.
TikTok like she's number one in like 40 countries or something.
It's
Like
crazy.
it's incredible.
TikTok, man. TikTok's worldwide.
But that was my one. The second thing I wanted to point out, he's number 3 right now, but Blinding Lights The Weeknd has now spent a full year with, I think, so like other than the 1 week during Christmas where it fell out of the top 10, I want to say it's been in the top 10 almost the entirety of its stay. It's now 60 weeks on this chart. Is that a 6 or a 5? That's a 6.
A year and some
60
months.
weeks on this chart.
Yeah.
So a year and 2 months. That's sort of incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
So over on the Billboard 200, two things I wanted to point out super quick. Morgan Wallen, I'll say he's canceled, but his album's been number 1 for 3 weeks. Of course, this is delayed, so we're going to see the impact next week. But based on the fact that his sales, since he's been canceled, have shot up 339% since his cancellation, I'm sure he's going to stay there. And I'm not for saying he's going to go down. And then number 2, Pop Smoke, who just literally since we started talking about this album, I don't think it's ever left the top 5, which is just incredible. Still number 2 on this week's Billboard 200 chart. And that's pretty much it. That's just my quick highlights. Any thoughts, guys?
Nah, it's still the same old usual suspects, literally. So
yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's just Pop Smoke. I always point him out because he doesn't fit. You know, Ariana Grande makes sense, Taylor Swift makes sense, but Pop Smoke has staying power, and I love to see it. So to wrap it up, project of the week, gentlemen. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Fana Hughes. Honestly, I was just going around through Apple Music, just goofing off. And I clicked a little R&B thing, and I was just going through artists, and I saw an album cover. I was like, wow, it looks like something I like. She's just in nature, basically, a Black woman in nature. I was like, oh, she sounds like soulful. Just a really good R&B album, man. Fana Hughes. Yeah, man. Just she's a great singer. Some standout tracks would be "Layup" and "Snakes and Elephants." Those are standout songs for sure.
Oh, my nephew's FaceTiming me.
Oh, so yeah, check it out, guys.
I'll go next. Mine. Anyone who knows me knows my favorite band is Weezer. It's been that way since I was a little child. Even though their first album came out 4 years before I was born. This is their latest album. It's like their 13th or 14th. It's called "Okay Human." Came out a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week. Very like Pet Sounds, Beach Boys kind of vibes. Very different take for them. It's very orchestral. I think it's the best album they've come out with since 2016 because they've been very consistent since like 2000. But yeah, I love this album. Good job.
I enjoyed it. I listened. It was good.
I'm happy.
I liked it.
And then for me, I chose Baby Keem, Die for My B Word, Not Cussing. The guys have been on this one for a while, so I finally gave it some time and listened to it on repeat last week, and I was a big fan. Standout tracks for me, the 3 songs that I've saved. So my standouts, My Ex, Top Ramen, and France Freestyle, which may be my favorite song. That's just, he goes hard on that one.
That's great.
So check out Baby Keem.
Yep.
He did that.
We're back, guys. 2021.
We're back, 2021, and I'm sure if you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna see that we look different too. Loki, if you're watching on any sort of audio device, you probably heard our intro too. So put some respect on our name. We ain't playing 2021. We're coming through with fire. Joe Budden, watch out. We're doing it. This is all it is. 90s some demo. 90s babies.
Let's get it.